Noah, Kazia, Josh, Safia and Hansa are over halfway through their working tour of the UK. Today we're travelling nearly 200 miles northeast to the seaside town of Grimsby, a place where working with fish has been a way of life for generations. I've brought our children to the world famous Grimsby Fish Market. Now, Grimsby was once the biggest port in the world and now has the nickname of Food Town because it has the highest concentration of companies processing food and fish of anywhere in Europe. And I think our five have an idea of where they're going to be working today. That's right, they're in a fish factory. Today, our pampered five face one of their biggest fears.
It's really cold and slimy.
But can they put their problem with slime aside as they start work for a strict boss in a giant fish factory?
Don't be rude, you're wasting my time.
And can the girls finally beat the boys?
Okay, if you're actually doing your job properly.
Or will it all end in tears?
You need to not panic. You're totally panicking. I don't know why.
18,000 tonnes of fish are sold here at the Grimsby Fish Market every year. That's enough fish to cover Wembley's pitch twice over. If Kazia, Josh, Hansa, Safia and Noah are going to spend the next 2 days working with fish like these cod, they need to get used to handling them.
Is it a tuna?
No, this is a cod.
It's a what?
So we don't remove the eyes. What you do here, the next stage is that you're going to say, I'm guessing, if you want to touch, help yourself. It's going to feel, you can feel right. Yeah. They'll string you up round here for that. There you go. Come on, don't back up, don't back up. This way. Yep. Just on there, like that.
Sorry, but please take it off me. Ew, ew.
Ready?
With this reaction, how will they manage 2 days' work in a fish factory?
I don't
All right.
like it.
Good.
Grimsby Fish Market used to be jam-packed with fish caught locally. But because of overfishing, supplies started running out, and nowadays fish are brought here from all over the world. Grimsby is full of fish factories like this one. Havelock prepare and supply fish to restaurants, supermarkets, and maybe even your school canteen.
Right said Fred.
Will our five overcome their fishy phobia here?
Smelling there.
It smells like someone's trying to cover up the smell of
No,
fish.
it smells of that stuff that you put like where they put over sick at school to make it like
What you need to remember is that the guys that work here, they've been working here for a couple of years now, so it's standard to them, yeah? So if you go in and say, oh, your office really smells, your factory stinks, it's not a good first impression, is it?
Okay,
Okay?
I see.
We'll go meet your bosses. Follow me. Come on in. How do you do, John?
Yeah.
How's things?
Yeah,
nice
great,
to
thank
meet
you.
And Darren.
Nice to meet you, right?
Meet our five. These are your bosses for the next couple of days.
Morning.
Morning, morning. We're a multi-million-pound fish processing business. We process 100 tonne of fish a week.
That's an astonishing amount of fish. And this year alone, you have supplied...
Around 20 million meals.
So, guys, you're in the wrong place to be not liking fish. Grimsby's where it's at.
Absolutely, yeah. Europe's food town, this, yeah.
Hansa, are you going to be OK over the next couple of days?
Oh, fish, and I don't get on.
Fish and you don't get on?
Yeah.
Oh, dearie me, it might be a long few days for our
Absolutely.
Hansa. So my understanding is that we need to get them changed, and then we're able to have a look around, have
Absolutely,
a quick tour.
yeah.
change. Like, into what?
Into your uniform.
Again.
And where again? Not again. OK, guys, you want to follow your bosses? Thank you very much. Don't forget your hairnets, girls.
In fact, it's hairnets for everyone, along with wellies and overalls. And that's not all.
First thing is, for the girls, no makeup, no nail varnish.
I just done my nails last night. Literally.
Of course, getting into trouble over makeup is nothing new for these girls. Our teen queens seem more concerned with their looks than with making a good impression on the factory floor.
We got up early to do this.
In
the first 2 factories, showman Noah beat them to the title of star employee.
I'm no longer a 13-year-old boy, I'm the boss.
And in the bus garage,
What are you doing?
Josh wiped the floor with the girls to become reigning champ. With only 2 factories left, our girls are running out of chances.
If you can make sure for tomorrow, don't come with the makeup on. I don't want to go through this again. It's a waste of time. Okay.
Noah, what do you make of the girls having to take their makeup off?
I'm sorry, but they look exactly the same, and they took.
You're not allowed to say that.
You are allowed to say
so bad about me. My God, Noah.
Kaz, don't worry about what you look like. This is not the best way to win over new boss Darren. Let's hope the girls can turn it around on the fish factory floor. R5 will be taking charge at the start of a busy production line. Darren has to fulfil a large order of battered cod fillets. The whole factory relies on a steady stream of fish moving along this conveyor belt. All our kids have to do is keep feeding fish onto it.
Right, who likes fish and chips? Right, well, that's what we're making today. We're making battered fish. We need to feed 60 pieces a minute. That's 1 piece per second.
1 piece per second.
Yeah.
Okay? It's doable. You can achieve this if you set your mind to it and you work as hard as the other workers here in the fish factory. Okay? We all clear? Happy. All right,
Okay, guys.
Eager to impress, Hansa and Kazia get off to an enthusiastic start. Maybe a little too enthusiastic.
That is so much fish.
With each bag of fish worth £50, the kids are literally throwing money on the floor.
Poor old Josh does seem to be a bit overwhelmed with all of these fillets. Every time I look over, the mounting is rising. Well, come over here quickly.
You're going to fill the table faster than the guys are feeding it onto the line. So what I want you to do is tip it on a bit more careful, and then one of you stay behind and help Josh split the fillets.
Saf seems to be knuckling down, despite not being the biggest fan of the job.
My hands are really cold. And it's like the gloves aren't doing much to stop them from getting cold. If I did this all day, it would be like, ugh, I get frostbite or something.
Further down the line, there's a problem. Darren does a spot check.
How they doing?
We're only running at 50% performance, so we need to double the speed.
The kids are slowing down the whole production line. Darren is forced to take action.
Right, guys, if we want to stop what we're doing, we're going to move everyone around. We need to get the focus back again.
At first, things seem to get better.
I'm doing okay. It's quite hectic though, because if you forget to do one thing, then the whole rest of the line fails. So it's a bit of pressure.
But then something else goes wrong. Boss Darren suddenly has to stop the machine. Production grinds to a halt. In their haste, the girls have knocked the belt and pushed it out of line.
I think the conveyor belt melts because, like, on each of the sides, I think we all try and do each other's side and, like, bending over to do each other's side.
Darren realigns the belt so work can resume. But the kids can't pull together and an argument breaks out.
No, I'm sorry, but like the guys have always like worked really hard, whereas the girls have had their moments of like, you know, I can't be bothered.
Okay, I'm not being funny, but you're saying that we're doing all this bad, and we found so many stuck together. It's unreal. So
if you actually were doing your job properly.
Darren has had enough.
Right, guys, if you want to come away from the line, we'll talk about the performance and how well we've done. What we need to do, we need to work as a team, talk a little bit less, and concentrate on your tasks when you're on the lines.
You did tell us very quickly how each of them done. So, Josh?
Josh did quite well.
Yeah?
Yeah, so did Saf. What I would call a bit old school. She's got her head down, she's got on with it, which is really good to see. Cassie, good and bad. When you first started feeding, you was keen. Then you start to chat a little bit too much. Same for Hansa, really. Between you as a pair, you wasn't my best feeding pair, but I think you're capable, again, capable, but we need to apply yourself.
And Noah?
Same for Noah, really. Your workload is good, Noah, but if our hands moved as fast as our mouths today, we'd have got 100%. Guys that are going to be promoted are Saf and Josh.
And the three of you, you're demoted.
To be honest, it's fair enough. But I'm a bit gutted because I have never been promoted.
Next shift, I'm going to come in with like a really positive attitude, and I have said that every single time.
At least one of our girls has managed a promotion.
Yeah, I am well chuffed that I actually got one over Noah now. Now it's time to beat my next, opponent, which is Josh.
This lot are so pampered at home, they still don't know the real meaning of hard work. So I've arranged for promoted Josh and Saf to meet someone who does. Rick is the supervisor at the factory. They all moaned about working with fish for 1 hour. He has worked with fish for 19 years. He's invited Saf and Josh to join him, daughters Ruby and Eve, and their cousin Lucy.
How many hours do you work a week?
Anywhere between 50 and 60.
What time do you have to get up and go to work?
I get up at 3 o'clock every morning when I'm on the morning shift, because I start at 4 o'clock, and some days I don't get back in here till about 3:30, 4 o'clock. So long days.
That's a long time.
It's a lot of hours. I don't get tired while I'm there. It's when I get home and sit down, that's when it hits me, when I get really tired.
How often do you see your dad?
One week we see him at tea time, after school, and then so we go to bed, and then the other week we'll see him at before school.
On that shift, I see him for about probably an hour a day.
Obviously it would be nice to see him a bit more, but we do understand why he's working for us and how grateful we are for it. I thought it was really sad that he only sees his kids for an hour a day. I think it was really nice that he was doing it for them though.
Across the other side of town, I'm taking demoted Noah, Kazia and Hansa for a different reality check. These guys have everything they could possibly want at home, so I'm bringing them to meet a young couple who take nothing for granted. Maintenance man Adam and his girlfriend Donna, who works in a different fish factory, live here with their 3-year-old daughter Whitney.
I love my job. It's just the atmosphere and the people that's there. We all get the job done. Growing up, I kind of always knew I'd, at some point in my life, work in a fish factory, because I'm from Grimsby, it's what we do.
Donna, these three, when they were working at the fish factory today, they were quite dismissive. Do you think people are too fussy?
Oh, there's been a few times I've not wanted to go to work, but if I don't go to work, I don't have money. And if we don't have money, we can't pay bills, can't do what we want.
Yeah, it's got to be done to get by, really, give Whitney best of what we can while she's young.
Adam shows Hansa, Kazia and Noah just how difficult he finds it to maintain their home on the family's income.
Front room, but it's supposed to be Whitney's playroom. As you can see, we've got damp in here, so it's not a very good place for Whitney to come stay, and somehow it's just ended up being a little storage room. I have been asking myself to get it up to good, but unfortunately I haven't got money to do that, as well as pay rent on top of it.
Yeah, this is it, isn't it? Sometimes you have to just make tough decisions. You either treat the damp or you feed Whitney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I choose to feed Whitney.
For our 3 kids, money is never a concern.
So how much pocket money do you all get?
Well, I get around £10–15 a week for doing nothing at all. But then, say if I go on a shopping trip, my mum will just give me £20–40, whatever. She would just kind of give it to me.
Mine's a little bit different. It varies a lot because I've got a debit card. And basically
How old are you? Sorry.
14.
14 and you've got a debit card. I mean, I didn't get my first debit card till I was 17, and then just to get what went in there, I had to really go out and work for.
But there have been times when Donna and Adam just haven't been able to make ends meet. Donna, I know there are food banks nearby. Is that something that you've ever had to go and use?
It is. I've used them a couple of times.
What's a food bank?
It's a place you go to when you haven't got much money to go get a shopping. You can apply for a couple of bags of food from a church or an organisation.
They work so hard, but they still don't have enough. I didn't even know what a food bank was until today. I think it's really unfair because it's a human right to have food.
We kind of just think, yeah, Britain's really good. It's like, you don't want to think outside the bubble that you live in.
I would have thought food is something like every household has, and not that you have to like go to a place where they can give it to you for free, you know? I thought that was a bit shocking, you could say.
These visits have been an eye-opener for our kids and will hopefully make them appreciate how easy they have it at home. It's their second day at the fish factory. In their first 3 factories, Golden Boys Noah and Josh triumphed. But 4 factories in, and one of the girls has upped her game. Saf is going head-to-head with reigning champ Josh.
Right guys, your task today, you're going to be working on the grading line, and what you're going to need to be doing is emptying 2 sizes from the grader in the red tubs, and you're going to be pouring them into the corresponding bins. Josh, I'm going to give you the 10 to 12s, Saf, I'm going to give you the 8 to 10s to do.
The frozen fish is sawn up into pieces called fillets, and the fillets are then sorted according to size. Josh and Saf will be responsible for emptying the different sized fish into bins for use further down the production line. It calls for care, patience and precision, or production will grind to a halt.
Oh, I didn't push it in far enough. I didn't push that in far enough. I've dropped 2.
Not a great start for Butterfingers Josh.
Sorry.
We need to make sure that no fish goes on the floor.
Yeah.
It's really, really expensive, okay?
What? Did you drop some? Drop some. I dropped 2 because this didn't slide in properly.
Ordinarily, what tends to happen when somebody drops fish on the floor?
If fish falls onto the floor, it becomes a waste product, a byproduct. This fish costs anywhere between £3.5 to £4.5 per kilo. A byproduct is worth about 20 pence per kilo, so there's almost 100% loss to the business.
Before yesterday, some of our lucky kids had never even heard of a food bank. So prior to starting their shift today, I want them to see one firsthand.
Hi! Come on in.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. This is our food larder.
It's estimated that there are over 800 food banks across the UK. And this year alone, over 1 million people have needed to use them. 1/3 of those are children.
Is this what you expected?
No, there's so many like cans and tins and everything.
Families come here to receive a food parcel when they can't afford to feed themselves.
We don't actually have anything fresh. We don't have fresh bread and things like that.
What kind of people do you supply food for?
Families with young children, teenagers like yourself, single people.
So is there like a lot of people that are like in this sort of situation?
There are, Noah, yeah.
A food request has just come in from a mother and her 2 young children. Noah, Kazia and Hansa are tasked with creating a package for them. It needs to include a variety of foods and, importantly, contain items that young children will eat.
That's a really good choice. We get asked for meatballs quite a lot.
Yeah, great.
That's it. You've got to think about them carrying it home. That's good.
Everybody likes bolognese.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
And it's got like tomatoes in it as well.
Yeah.
Don't we just need baked beans though?
Baked beans.
Which are here. I think, yeah.
So what do our kids think of a food bank now they've seen one for themselves?
Not being able to provide for their family must be really hard.
It's quite sad that people actually in Britain need to have this food bank. It's quite upsetting, actually.
I think you've really got the idea now, kids. Do you want a job?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love it here.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Oh.
Back at the factory, Saf and Josh are sorting fish fillets into buckets. It's Saf's chance to knock Golden Boy Josh off his #1 spot.
Exactly the same idea. I want you to take the 7 to 8s, put those spots on that table.
It's really heavy.
That's okay, Saf, you'll be okay.
With 2 fish down, Josh can't afford to make any more mistakes.
Josh, that's wrong.
Wrong.
That's wrong. Yeah. This is 8 to 10:15, Josh. Put that box back.
Oh, I was pouring the wrong ones. I picked up the wrong box.
Second mistake that Josh has made in this task. He managed to just about save himself, but a close call. Saf hadn't made any mistakes whatsoever.
There's been no mistakes, and there's been no fish on the floor, so I'm really pleased with that.
Good news for Saf.
4 factories in, and it seems Saf has gone the extra mile to win over boss Darren. Noah, Kazia and Hansa are now back from the food bank. This is their final chance to impress and deliver.
OK, we all ready? Almost. Sorted for the factory floor?
Right, guys, I think some of us are still wearing makeup. After everything that we went through yesterday, I'm really, really disappointed. You've wasted my time. So before we proceed, can you get the makeup off as quick as possible, please? I'm really unhappy.
Girls, why have you come to work with makeup on again when it was made so clear yesterday that it wasn't acceptable?
Oh, for once Hansa and Kazia are speechless.
I'm going to take it off nice and quick. Nice and quick, girls.
Guys, if you want to cut out the sniggering, get the makeup off, don't be rude. You're wasting my time.
OK, sorted. Do you want to apologise?
Sorry.
Come on, guys.
What a dismal start to the third and final task. Hansa and Kazia will have to pull out all the stops if they've got any chance of redeeming themselves.
OK, guys, this is going to be your third task. You're going to be packing the sea dogs, 50 sea dogs in a box, and then you're going to be putting the box on the top of the rail.
There is no way you can get this wrong, OK?
I'm sure we'll find a way.
No, this is it. You're going to go out with a bang.
All our 5 have to do is count them into boxes of 50. But before they get going, Darren has some important news.
What we're going to do, we're going to promote Saf here and ask her to supervise production. Make sure and tell me if anything's going wrong.
Amazing. So another promotion for Saf. Woo! Safia, you look utterly shocked.
I thought it would have been Josh or something, not me. So, yeah, I'm well shocked.
You feeling good? OK, so 2 on the left, 2 on the right. Safia supervising. Get yourselves going.
Hansa, Kazia, Josh and Noah get cracking.
So off we go. Boxes are behind you, Noah.
OK.
50 in a box.
OK.
But Saf seems like a fish out of water in her new role as supervisor.
I don't really know what I'm meant to be doing at the moment. I'm kind of just standing, waiting for something to happen. I'm not actually sure what I'm meant to do.
Joshua, what do you want?
Back in the textile factory, a usually super cool Noah floundered in his role as supervisor.
Noah! Noah!
Back at the fish factory, Saf's team are in need of leadership.
I can't count. I don't even know what number I'm at. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
I've lost my count.
With Saf failing to give direction, the production line falters.
They're all falling in.
It's OK, Saf, they'll sort it. What you need to do for me, supervise the line, tell the other packers, because that's waste. So you just go back and tell them, you can do it.
I don't want to. I don't really want to do it though. Guys, Darren said to speed up, so we're going to go again.
But Saf's orders fall on deaf ears.
What do I do now? I don't really want to be supervisor. I mean, I'm really happy that I got promoted and all, but I don't think I'm very good at it.
What are you not good at?
Talking to people, I can't tell them what to do. I'm really bad at it.
But you've never tried before, so how do you know?
I don't know. I'm just really bad at it.
Are they doing anything wrong?
No, they're doing it fine.
I think that's fair enough then, but you need to not panic. You're totally panicking. I don't know why.
I don't think she likes telling us off because she's a really nice person.
Keen to help their friends, Hansa and Kazia speed up.
Let them know they're doing a good job. It's just as important as telling them they're not doing a good job. Everyone's doing well now, so it's time to tell them.
Okay.
OK, come on.
But yeah, Darren said you guys are working at 100%, so well done, yeah? Thank you.
The order completed, Darren calls time.
OK, guys, that's the end of the task.
Darren's going to have a look at your work, he's going to have a chat with the other workers, and you're going to all meet in the boardroom. Hello, hello.
Hi.
How are we all?
Good.
You know the score, you know why we're here. First of all, I'm going to hand over to your bosses and they're going to remind us why this factory is so important.
As we all know, Grimsby is synonymous for fish, and what you've seen over the last few days is that a lot of businesses have moved away from the fish stocks, but it's still a thriving community around the fish industry.
And you guys have learned firsthand just how precious these jobs are. So if we could start with Hansa.
Hands on day one. It's a bit disappointing that we had to ask you to remove your makeup when you're coming into the food factory. I feel it should have been done quicker and with a more to the point so that it wasn't starting to almost waste my time.
I do agree with the thing about the makeup. I should have just gotten and done it.
But on a real positive with Hansa, once she was on the line, performed really well, got stuck in and followed the clear instructions really well.
Kazia, how's Kazia done?
It's really a repeat of what happened with Hansa. Makeup to remove on day one.
These two are like two peas in a pod.
Yeah, there's, I mean, what we do with that troublesome staff, should we call it, I'd normally send one staff to one end of the factory and the other one to the other, and you sort of bump into each other at the end of the shift. But Cassia, once you're on the line, performing the tasks, yeah, really good.
Josh, how's Josh done?
Yeah, Josh has been good. Yeah. Some small hiccups. We had some fish hit the floor.
That's right,
Just made by a minor mistake on the line, just a little bit more attention to detail.
So overall, thumbs up?
Yeah, thumbs up, yeah.
Noah?
Yeah, Noah's good. Noah's a bright kid. That clearly stands out. A little bit chatty on day one at the start, and then today worked really well on the line.
How has Safia done?
Yeah, Safi's done really well. The way you've acted in the factory, listening to what's been instructed, and then the way you've given the tasks a go has been really pleasing to see.
Saf, how do you feel you've done here in the fish factory?
I think I've done pretty good on the first two, but I think I completely flopped on the last one. I wasn't a very good supervisor, so like, I don't know, I'm not quite sure how I've done.
See, I disagree. I think you were fine as a supervisor.
Yeah, you were good, Saf.
You really were.
Yeah, you were.
So we've had a conversation, and there would be some that you would be willing to offer a job were they old enough.
The guys that I would offer a job are Josh, Saf and Noah.
Josh, Saf and Noah. What do you make of that?
Oh, well, shocked.
So who would you call your star employee?
I think the person that's shone the most as a star employee was Safia. She's done really well. Over the 2 days, she's got really stuck in.
So that's the first time I've made star employee now, so it's like, I'm well happy.
Saf, you're the first girl to be made star employee, and you should be very, very happy. Okay? At last, one of our girls has stolen the crown from the boys. Next time on Show Me What You're Made Of, we're at a clothes recycling factory. Noah puts on a show, and the girls are far from impressed.
Look, I don't put on these Y fronts and go, look, Noah, I'm a man.
Noah, Kazia, Josh, Safia and Hansa are over halfway through their working tour of the UK. Today we're travelling nearly 200 miles northeast to the seaside town of Grimsby, a place where working with fish has been a way of life for generations.
I've brought our children to the world-famous Grimsby Fish Market. Now, Grimsby was once the biggest port in the world and now has the nickname of Food Town because it has the highest concentration of companies processing food and fish of anywhere in Europe. And I think our five have an idea of where they're going to be working today. That's right, they're in a fish factory.
Today, our pampered five face one of their biggest fears.
It's really cold and slimy.
But can they put their problem with slime aside as they start work for a strict boss in a giant fish factory?
Don't be rude. You're wasting my time.
And can the girls finally beat the boys?
Okay, if you actually doing your job properly.
Or will it all end in tears?
You need to not panic. You're totally panicking. I don't know why.
18,000 tonnes of fish are sold here at the Grimsby Fish Market every year. That's enough fish to cover Wembley's pitch twice over. If Kazia, Josh, Hansa, Safia and Noah are going to spend the next 2 days working with fish like these cod, they need to get used to handling them.
Is it a tuna?
Smell. No, this is a cod.
It's a what?
So we don't remove the eyes. What you do here, the next stages that you're going to see, I'm guessing, if you want to touch, help yourself. It's going to feel right. Yeah. They'll string you up round here for that. There you go. Come on, don't back up, don't back up. This way. Yep. And just on there, like that.
Sorry, but please take it off me. Ew, ew.
Ready?
With this reaction, how will they manage 2 days' work in a fish factory?
I don't like it.
Good.
Grimsby Fish Market used to be jam-packed with fish caught locally. But because of overfishing, supplies started running out, and nowadays fish are brought here from all over the world. Grimsby is full of fish factories like this one. Havelock prepare and supply fish to restaurants, supermarkets, and maybe even your school canteen.
Right said Fred.
Will R5